A few weeks ago, I set out on a journey to get my garage completely decluttered and reorganized, working my way through section by section. And I would say that I'm definitely off to a good start, but now it's time to focus on this section and also get to as much of this as possible. So if you're looking for some decluttering and organization inspiration, be sure to stay tuned. So I'm first going to start by giving myself a little bit of room to work with, and I'm just going to be basically getting all this stuff that's on the floor and setting it aside just for the meantime so that I can kind of access this bookshelf. And just keep in mind throughout this whole video, everything that you see me setting aside or putting into another space in the garage, I'm not just throwing them anywhere, I'm actually setting them into piles by category. So just depending on their use and function is kind of how I'm trying to group them together. So now that I have access to this bookshelf, I'm just quickly going through and collecting all the trash and anything that needs to be thrown out. And I'm definitely getting good use out of this little tool that I shared with you guys in my last video that basically just removes your private information off of labels, and it actually doubles as a box opener too. So if you've been thinking about getting something like this or you need something like this, I highly recommend this one. Now, when it comes to organizing every little thing that you see in my garage, I'm definitely taking a more phase by phase approach. So I would consider this video probably phase 1 of my garage declutter and reorganization. So although I am going through everything and giving it a good declutter and finding a spot for everything, there are still going to be a lot of small items that I am still going to need to go through and have better organizational supplies for. But for now, I'm just going to do the best I can with what I have. So now that I got everything cleared out, I wanted to take the opportunity and kind of sweep over this area for cobwebs, which actually wasn't as bad as I thought, especially when I pulled this bookshelf out of the way. I was really surprised. I thought it was going to be full of cobwebs, spiders, and other kind of unwanted guests. And since I had the bookshelf pulled out, I did want to give it a good dusting as well, because I never really know the next time I'm going to have an opportunity like this. And this bookshelf I've actually been saving because I've been hoping to give it a little bit of a makeover. Just some simple stuff like adding some trimming along the edge and giving it a good paint job just to freshen it up, because I did want to put it in my office. But as you're going to see later in this video, I end up actually needing both this bookshelf and that black metal rack that you're about to see. I end up needing both storage options for my garage, so I'm not really sure how well those plans are going to turn out in the future, but I'm going to get as much use of it as I can for now in my garage. So I'm really close to being done with this section of the garage, but today is pretty hot right now. It's 89. It's supposed to reach 92 today, which the whole point of me getting to the garage before I really finished the rest of the inside of my house was to beat the heat, but this is just the kind of spring that we're having. But anyway, because it is so hot, I was kind of getting, I'm not necessarily discouraged, but I'm really starting to lose motivation. But I do have a little trick for that. So just in case you're in the middle of a project and you still have a little ways to go before you finish for the day or however, what I just did, which is what you guys just saw me do, is a little trick to kind of help me push past that lack of motivation that I was feeling, and now I feel a lot more motivated. So what I did was I basically just did something that I could get a quick win from. So I did this space up here. I basically just moved the 5-gallon jugs over to just that side. I just kind of tossed them wherever because I know they're going to go on that side and I'm going to organize it later. So I set them aside so I could clear up space to put the other 2 ladders. So because I was able to get that quick win in, it kind of gave me a little motivational boost to be able to continue and finish the rest of this side of the garage that I want to finish today. So just a little tip for you. Hope it helps. As I was sorting through all of my fishing stuff, I did end up finding some organizers that I had previously bought, but because I still had so much to go through in my garage, I didn't really want to spend the time combing through all my tackle. So I ended up just using a couple of fishing bags that I don't normally use to store some of the stuff, and I split it up into categories. So one bag I put all of my wearables in, like my sun hat, my fishing gloves, things like that. And the gray and yellow bag, I put all of our new stuff, so things that have not been opened and that are brand new. And in the old tackle box, I just put everything that was laying around that had already been used so that I can sort through at a later date. I did give myself a couple of days this week to get as much done as I could in my garage. And on this date, my husband was willing to take all the recycling for me. So I loaded up his truck before I headed inside to finish up a couple of more things. And I have to say that just getting rid of all the recycling was such a quick win. It was such an easy thing for me to clear out, but it had such a huge impact on the space.
Let the anthem rise up, let the song ring out.
Now it's time to get my dog food portioned out and vacuum sealed. This is the vacuum sealer that I ended up picking up from Amazon. It does have 2 settings for sealing for dry and moist foods. Also, you can set the pressure. Also select to do an automatic vacuum seal. It also includes a space where you can put the roll, although my roll that I have right now is too big to fit in there. But yeah, it's all set up for you and it works great. I also picked up the vacuum seal roll on Amazon, and this was such a great deal. It is a full 150 feet worth of vacuum seal bags for a very good price. So if you're in the market for some vacuum seal equipment, Amazon is a great place to go. I went to Costco about 3 to 4 weeks ago and I bought this 40-pound bag of dog food. Now, I don't have a huge dog. She is like maybe a medium small dog, but I want to buy in bulk, not only for our food but for hers as well, because this will definitely save us money. And this dog food was such a good price, and I can already tell that it's having such a good effect on her already. But because I know this dog food is going to last us for a long while, I wanted to make sure to vacuum seal it so I can keep it as fresh as possible. That way, the plan really works and we do end up saving money instead of wasting a lot of dog food. The food that I used to buy before buying this food now from Costco was actually from Walmart. I used to buy an 8-pound bag for just under $17, and that would last probably about 5 weeks or so. I would have to buy a new bag about once a month to a month and a half. But at Costco, I got this 40-pound bag for just $28. And this is gonna last me a long time because here you see me splitting it up into about 5 good-sized bags. But I also have about 8 pounds that's stored in my pantry because I do have a fairly large container that held the full 8-pound bag in there. So there is a lot of dog food to go through, and this is probably gonna last me, I would say, at least 4 months. So I think it's such a great deal. Also, when it comes to dog treats, I do buy treats for larger dogs and just cut them down because, like I said, I have a medium-sized dog. She's not very big, but I can still buy larger treats that come in bulk for a really good price and just portion them out for her because that'll really save me money in the long run. As you can see here, I have plenty of treats and dog food to last me for several months. So just a tip, just in case you happen to own any animals. So it is now a couple of days later, and this is where I ended up storing all of the dog food and the dog treats that I vacuum sealed a couple of days ago. Now it's time to move on to this section of the garage. So I first got started off by doing a quick sweep through and picking up any trash that was laying around. Then I moved on to implement the same strategy that I did before, which is just pulling everything out, sorting it into categories on the other side of the garage, which is now clean and available for me to use, and just continue working through this garage bit by bit. It has actually been a while, maybe even a year and a half since I've went through the garage and tried to organize it. And going into it, I thought I was going to find so much more spiders and spider webs than I actually did. And coming from a person that hates spiders, this was such a big relief for me, to be honest. And I kind of think that's the reason why I procrastinated so hard when it came to my garage. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think that's how most, if not all, procrastination goes. It's like we procrastinate on certain things because of one minor detail that we just absolutely dread, right? But once we finally put that aside and just tackle the task, we end up finding out that it wasn't that bad after all. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal. And we even end up wishing that we would have done it sooner. So now I'm wondering if the key to procrastination is figuring out what that minor detail is. What is that thing that you are dreading that is keeping you from taking action? Figure out what that is so you can identify it and figure out a way to streamline that one aspect of the task, and then maybe you'll even look forward to getting done what you need to get done. I don't know. You guys are going to have to let me know what you think down in the comments, and if you have any tips for procrastination, I would love to hear that too. And I'm sure a lot of others would love to hear it as well. As I work my way through clearing out this garage, I'm reminded that decluttering our homes can also be a picture of what God wants to do in our hearts and minds as well. And in Matthew chapter 6, Jesus reminds us not to store up treasures on earth, because where our treasure is, there will our heart be also. And that really speaks to me, because sometimes the clutter around us reflects the clutter within us too. The distractions, the worries, the attachments, the things we've been holding on to for too long. So as we let go of what we don't need, we're making room for peace, clarity, and purpose. And spiritually, that can remind us to let God search our hearts, remove what doesn't belong, and help us focus again on what really matters. So maybe this isn't just about organizing a garage. Maybe it's also about inviting the Lord to declutter our hearts and minds too. So I hope this encourages you today. Every bag we let go of, every shelf we clear off, can be a little reminder that God is always making space for something better.
Overthink, giving our power to the enemy. In the midst of hurt and pain, I could have been dancing in the rain.
As I make my way through my garage, I'm sorting everything into categories, I'm dusting, but I'm also trying to think ahead and figure out where I'm going to put things when the time comes. And if you're on your own decluttering journey, whether it's in your garage or a different area of your house, don't be afraid to make adjustments. Make your plans, have your ideas, but when the time comes and it didn't work out the way you hoped it would or wanted it to, don't be afraid to adjust. And just like you see me doing here. My original plan was just to put this tote under that bottom shelf and then stack everything that I could on the remaining shelves. But then I remembered that I had these fold-out cots and this canopy that I wanted to store, so I went ahead and pulled things back out, readjusted the shelf, and adjusted the rest of the things accordingly. I mean, sometimes that's just how it has to be, trial and error. So don't be afraid when you're decluttering and trying to reorganize, especially such a large space, to adjust as you go. It does require a little extra work and effort, but the end result is definitely worth it.
So I have decided to choose you.
Now that I've got everything cleared out and sorted out, it's time for me to figure out how I'm going to reorganize it and get everything to fit nicely. And since this bin is so heavy, it's a really easy choice for me to decide where it's going. It has a lot of woodworking tools and supplies, and the clear bin that you see is full of woodworking magazines and plans and things like that. Definitely too heavy for me to lift, so I am leaving them on the ground where I can easily slide them around. But here I remembered that we had this bin that was basically half full, just full of a lot of electronic and media equipment like cords, cables, wires, things like that. So I went ahead and just got all the stuff, put it in a bag so I could sort through it later, because I really needed this bin empty so I could put some of my Christmas decor inside and continue to get everything organized on this end. Now I'm getting ready to do a little more adjusting. What I'm doing here is preparing to slide my washer and dryer over to the right just a little bit, because I ended up moving this black wire rack over to the left side of the garage near all my fishing gear, but I didn't like how crowded it made my wash area feel, so I wanted to move that over a bit and try to figure out the best way to organize everything on these two shelves. But I wasn't really happy with the placement of the shelf. My original thought was to have this black wire shelf kind of cover and distract from the exposed water heater that we have in our garage. But once I tried out that placement, I wasn't really happy with the white shelves being tall, the blue being short, and then going back to tall shelves with the black wire shelving. So what I ended up deciding to do was try out a different placement for this black shelves. But before I did that, I needed to put all of my Christmas and home decor items in the white shelf where I originally wanted it to be. Once I got the section in front of the white cabinets that you see cleared up, I went ahead and moved the black wire shelving to where I thought could work. To be honest with you, I really doubted it was going to work, but I just wanted to see, because sometimes, things surprise you and they end up working out when you didn't think they originally would. So I wanted to give it a test run and just see if by chance it would work out. But unfortunately, it didn't. And I ended up having to go with plan C. But what I was thinking here was to leave just enough space for me to be able to access both sides of this black shelving unit and still have access to the blue shelves that you see, without having the black shelves interfere with the doors of the white shelves. There's a lot of shelf talk in this video apparently. But because that didn't work, I had to go to plan C, which is honestly what I was pretty positive I was going to end up deciding on in the first place. But I don't know, I just wanted to try a couple things out just to make sure, that's really the best option. And I think it turned out pretty good. It still leaves the water heater exposed, but that's fine. I mean, this is a garage, right? So I'm not expecting it to be super aesthetic, but I really like the balance that this layout brings. It keeps the height of everything fairly consistent, and it looks really neat and organized for what I'm working with as of right now. Alright guys, I'm getting ready to call it a day. I've been working pretty hard for a few hours and I'm getting pretty tired. My mind is also getting pretty tired as well, having to think of the best way to organize everything. So even though I really want to finish today, I don't want to overdo it and leave myself burnt out for the rest of the week, because I do have plenty of editing and more homemaking to do. So I'm going to call it a day. But since I'm not completely done yet, I do still have some things that are kind of loose and sitting out. Mainly the things that I plan on selling or donating. So what I plan to do with that is just to leave it in a small pile here in the garage. That way I'm able to pick right back up in a few days when I'm able to finish the garage. So with all that being said, I think this garage is just going to take one more video to complete, which is going to be the side over here to my left, which, to be honest with you, I'm not sure how much I'm really able to do because it's a lot of my storage bins. But in that video, I also am going to include the plans that I have for this section here, which is my laundry section of my garage. I have been looking forward to doing that for a long time, and I'm so excited to finally be able to get started on that. So if you're not already subscribed, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on that future video. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and wrap up today.
If I have a challenge that seems impossible.
The rest of these items that you see sitting out are just a mixture of trash, things that I'm going to donate, and things that I'm going to try to sell. So what I'm going to do is just throw the trash out and have a nice neat little pile here of the things that I'm going to get rid of, which is going to make things really nice for me to be able to pick right back up where I left off the next time I'm available to work on my garage.
Lifter of my head when I'm low.
And that's gonna wrap up today's video, guys. So let me know how you think I did down in the comments below, but also let me know if there's anything that you would have done differently. I would love to hear any feedback. I'm definitely open to that. But just check out this transformation. Even though I'm not completely done with my garage, it has definitely been such a blessing to have it cleared out as much as I have been able to accomplish so far. I really hope that you enjoyed today's video and that it was a good source of inspiration and motivation to get your own decluttering done. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope to see you next week for another video. Bye.
I'll say